here, and they did everything for each other, for the local community. They worked together and created this marvelous place that so many of us call home. He was a funny, generous, loving man. He was an artist and shared his talent with all of us, the kids in the community. He gave art classes. Every painting he sold down here, the proceeds went to Becca to support our kids staying in school. He loved and welcomed everybody. All the newbies were his best friends immediately. He trained us, he guided us, and he supported us in becoming members of this community. He never missed a meeting. He never missed an event. He never missed a party, especially. He loved to party. And Charlie loved the women. Oh, did he love the women? And with those beautiful blue eyes of his, a twinkle, I think all of us loved him as well. I don't know anybody that didn't love Charlie. He will be sorely missed and remembered for a long, long time to come. He was our storyteller. He was the keeper of our community, and we'll miss him very, very much. Much love to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Molly. Yeah, love to you, Charlie, and your family. So good morning and welcome. It's great that we can all be here together. Love to you on this Valentine's Day. Doug and I are so grateful to be part of this community. We bought our first place here about 20 years ago, and later we were part of the group that founded My Church. And now we're part of this expansion that we're calling Tranquilo. We've emailed and posted, and things take time. Changes take time. It takes time to sink in. So I'm going to do a quick overview this morning of the changes. This community has always loved getting together, as Molly was just saying. And 10 years ago, there were potlucks and great spiritual conversations going on. So we thought maybe it would be fun to start a regular monthly gathering. Historically, this community has had a sort of renegade nature. There were people who were missing going to church, but there were more people who were avowed atheists, and many of us had been traumatized by religion. So the question became, can we do something that feels enough like church for those people, but still not like church for the rest? It's been tricky, but we've pulled it off. Then gradually, some of us wanted to get together more often and to go deeper into these conversations. So we talked Ron, our major meditator for 40 years, into starting a Monday morning meditation class, and Nadine agreed to facilitate a weekly book study group. Both are now starting their 7th year every week. There's a book study group and meditation group in the Rosarito area. And we're learning how to get along better with each other on the ongoing weekly Enneagram group. And now all except the Monday meditation are on Zoom. We certainly do miss getting together in person. I know you do too. But being online has opened up the really wonderful community we have here for others to join in from anywhere. And guess what? Some of them are moving here. And we're seeing people bring all kinds of new skills and talents to all that we already have. So we saw the opportunity to experiment with expansion and maybe bring a little more organization. We created a bigger container, and the name Tranquilo just came naturally. Tranquility is one of the best things about living here. And in this somewhat remote place and in nature, and isn't inner tranquility mostly what we're going for, what we're here to learn about? Learning how to live in more peace, freedom, ease, happiness, getting together to explore ways of doing that. Not Church is still the keystone of this community, and I imagine it always will be. The piece that is fundamental that all other things rest on. And if you only want to do this 1 hour once a month, you are welcome. That's great. Many of us have experienced much benefit doing just that. And if you'd like to maybe go deeper, faster, you'll consider some of the new things, and you'll learn more about those later. We asked ourselves in doing all of this, why are we doing this? And really, what are we doing? And what we came up with is we're creating more humanity in each of us, for all of us. And we're doing it through spiritual exploration and expansion. I hope you're as moved by that idea as we are. With this in mind today, some of our neighbors, I'm sorry, my Zoom screen is moving around. With that in mind today, some of our neighbors are going to talk to you about things that inspire them. And we've invited a new person to join us to learn about the wisdom of the heart today. Something new, she will lead a meditation as part of her talk. And first up, when we were thinking about who might like to be a part of the program today, and by the way, you're all welcome to participate, just let us know. We remembered a reading we all enjoyed very much last year, and she has agreed to come back today, Lisa Rath. Are you here, Lisa?
I am here.
Oh, good. There you are. Thank you.
Yeah, this time I wasn't able to, nothing came to me as like an original reading, but I did find something that I think we will all enjoy today. Since Wisdom of the Heart is the theme, I found a book and it's called Wisdom of the Heart, Inspiration for a Life Worth Living. That seems really suitable. It's by Alan Cohen, in case you want to look for it. As you navigate through the adventure of life, you'll probably look to many sources for guidance. When you seek answers from external authorities, however, you may become overwhelmed and confused. You'll find a deluge of information when what you really need is inspiration. So where can you turn for answers which will satisfy you? For thousands of years, sages and seers have encouraged us to look within our own hearts for the truth we seek. Intellectual knowledge goes just so far. It helps, but ultimately, we yearn for deeper knowing. Because we're spiritual beings, nothing less than spiritual answers will fulfill us. In this book, Alan Cohen offers principles upon which you can build a rewarding life, and they can help you move through significant transitions which you may encounter on your journey. I invite you to savor this message throughout your week. This is a quote. "My child, in the life ahead of you, keep your capacity for faith and belief, but let your judgment watch what you believe. Keep your love of life, but throw away your fear of death. Life must be loved, or it is lost. Keep your wonder at great and noble things, like sunlight and thunder, the rain and the stars, and the greatness of heroes. Keep your heart hungry for new knowledge. Keep your hatred of a lie, and keep your power of indignation. I am ashamed to leave you in an uncomfortable world, but someday it will be better. And when that day comes, you will thank God for the greatest blessing man can receive, living in peace. That was from a letter from a Yugoslav soldier in World War II to his unborn child, and the man was later executed, which makes it all the more poignant. We all want to leave our children a better world than the one we found. The greatest legacy you can bestow is joy, which is a choice you can make right now. If you wait until the world changes to let your light shine, your dream will wither and die. Make your joy conditional on nothing outside of you and on everything inside of you. Then your children will have a role model of self-generated happiness. Life is a game of focusing your attention. Everything you can imagine is out there. Do whatever it takes to find and create magic in your life. Bathe in the light of the full moon. Gaze into a star-jeweled night. Let yourself be lulled to sleep by the rhythm of waves. Life is seeking to love you. Are you letting it? Your soul has its own song. Your unique energy and purpose are expressed through your talents, your passions, and your visions. When you're in touch with your joy and you act upon it, your heart feels full and your life is rewarding. When you're disconnected from your passion, you feel empty. Your life is frustrating and you wonder what you're doing here. So, my friends, blessings on your great adventure. May you recognize the wisdom in your own heart and bring it to life more and more every day.
Thank you, Lisa.
My pleasure.
Hi, I'm Tom Werder, and I have the privilege today of introducing you to Melinda Dewey with the HeartMath Institute, and I am really excited about that. I started working with HeartMath practices and technology a few years ago, and I've really fallen in love with it over the years. HeartMath has been doing a tremendous amount of scientific research around the heart and heart coherence, as well as brain coherence. And what they're doing, among other things, is they're validating many of the spiritual practices that we've been doing for hundreds and thousands of years. And I just love it when science comes up and kind of gives it the scientific stamp of approval for the esoteric things that we're doing. They have gone way beyond that also. Today, I find myself especially using some of the elegantly simple practices of HeartMath when my mind gets the better of me and gets snarky. At those times, I will use the very simple, elegant process where I breathe into my heart, I infuse a regenerative emotion with it, and I find then that I'll be restored to some peace of mind. So I'm very grateful for these practices. So Melinda Dewey's passion is living into and facilitating heart presence and expanded well-being, personally, professionally, and globally for the heart evolution of the whole. She's a speaker, certified heart math coach and trainer, workshop and retreat leader, faculty member, and mentor. She's the Chief Operations Officer and Facilitator for the International Heart Ambassadors Community and Heart Mastery online learning program. We could say that Melinda has a high level of mastery in matters of the heart. So please help me welcome Melinda Dewey. Go ahead, Melinda.
It's my pleasure to be here with you all. I've watched your previous programs and was so I'm realizing this is, this is my tribe. I'm so glad to be here with you, and all the amount of heart and meaning and soul that you're all working, bringing that tranquillo quality to your lives. So let me just share my screen with you here. And there we go. There we go. So the wisdom of the heart. Did you know that in fetal development, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain begins to develop? Did you know that the heart has a brain of its own, 40,000 sensory neurons right at the back of the heart here, that relay information up to the brain in the head? Did you know that the heart brain can act independently of the cranial brain? Two things can be going on at the same time. And that the heart brain has extensive sensory capabilities. And that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Who's in charge here, huh? And it produces more energy than it consumes. That's one of the only things in the whole world we know that does that. So I share this with you because the heart is much more than a pump, and we're going to explore that. It's electrical, it's a hormonal organ, it's involved in intuition and perception, and it can sync up with the head brain to create heart intelligence. So would you like to experience tapping into the power and wisdom of the heart? Let's do it. So we're going to start, like Tom said, let's start with heart-focused breathing. It's just putting our attention there in the center of the chest. And then breathing in and out a little slower and deeper than usual. And breathing as if we could breathe in and out of our heart. If it helps to do 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out with the breath, do that, but it's whatever's comfortable for you. We know that we learn better when we're in this state, when we're heart connected. It disconnects us from whatever we might have been thinking about and brings us to this heart focus and heart breathing. Starts to balance our autonomic nervous system and bring on our well-being. It also, if we add another step to it, it will also take us to a state of coherence. And let's talk about what that is. What we're going to do today is we're going to explore how our hearts and our brains work together. And then we're going to take a guided journey to access the wisdom of the heart. So if that's what you signed up for, you're on the right bus. So we're going to start then, as we did with heart-focused breathing, and we're explaining here about coherence. So coherence is when things are synced up. It's an optimal state in which the heart, mind, and emotions are aligned and in sync, like those rowers. Like if they were out of sync, they wouldn't be going straight, would they? They'd be losing their efficiency and their effectiveness. And physiologically, when we're in a state of heart coherence, the immune, hormonal, and nervous systems function in a state of energetic coordination. So let's look at how our hearts and our brains work together. First, we'll just do a quick understanding. And by the way, you're going to be receiving a free 5-hour course. We'll be giving you information at the end that's going to cover all of the science and all of the techniques, 5 techniques. Today, we're just going to be doing 1 technique, 2 techniques, but there's a video series called Shift to the Heart in the Heart Mastery courses that's going to explain all of this more. So we're going to take a quick tour so we have time to actually spend time in the heart. So what we're looking at here is a heartbeat, a series of heartbeats. And our heart is designed to speed up and slow down all the time. The experience, talk about flatlining, that's when there is no heartbeat. But when there are heartbeats, they are always speeding up and slowing down. And that variability in the speeding up and slowing down is called heart rate variability. For example, here we have 859 seconds, which is 7 beats per minute between heartbeats here, and then 76 beats per minute, and then 83 beats per minute. And that's showing that the heart rate is increasing. If you graph that, if you graphed it over a period of time, like 24 seconds, you might see that the heart rate was speeding up, and then it's slowing down, and then it's speeding up, and it's slowing down. So let's look at what happens then, because there's groundbreaking research that HeartMath has done that's related how emotions affect our heart rate variability. And heart rate variability has been around quite a while. It's used in fetal monitors when, in birthing centers. And it measures whether or not the baby's under distress or not. And the technology has been there for a long time, but the founders of HeartMath discovered that when they would do their meditations and connect with their hearts, that some profound changes would happen inside of them. A deep sense of well-being and connectedness to higher intelligence, sense of calm, noticing health improvements. And they thought, we need to bring this to the world. They cared deeply about the world. And so they said, let's do some research. There's something here, we've got to prove this. And this is based on the HeartMath research. Now, what do you think? This is the heart rate variability of the top line. What do you think that person was doing? What do you think they asked them to do in the laboratory while they hooked up to their heart rate? They asked them to recall something that was frustrating. And their heart rate variability, and this is an average, this is what we see typically, like Tom was saying, if in the technology, you could even see your own heart rate and see what it looks like. You can see these curves here, these printouts, and these patterns and waves, these rhythms. So they asked them to just recall something that was frustrating. And their heart rate variability got chaotic, unpredictable. And actually, our heart is like a drum major at the beginning of a parade so that everybody can stay in sync. It needs to be setting a pace that the rest of all of our systems, our internal systems, our digestion, our breathing, our heart, our hormonal systems, elimination, vagal nerve functions, all of those are listening to see how to be in sync. But it's really hard to when we're frustrated or angry or some other incoherent negative emotion. Now, what do you think they asked the person on the bottom line? What do you think they asked them? They asked them to recall something that they appreciated. And look at how their pattern turned into a coherent pattern. It became more predictable. The increases and the decreases, the peaks and the valleys became very predictable. Anybody with scientific background that studied waves, whether it be light waves, sound waves, any kind of electrical wave, knows that there is such a thing as a sine wave, S-I-N-E, and a sine wave is a predictable wave. A sine wave can carry more information clearly without distortion. In other words, if you took an incoherent light source, like an incandescent bulb or fluorescent bulb, the light emanating, the wave would look like this incoherent one there at the top. And a laser, if you shot a 100-watt bulb, a laser based on a 100-watt bulb, it could go to the moon because of its clarity and purity and its intensity. It's a clear path without resistance. And this is the state we want to go for, the state of coherence. It facilitates our brain function. Let me show you how. So here's where they came up with the groundbreaking research. They realized that when we're in a state of incoherence or a state of coherence, that brain in the heart is communicating up to the head brain, whether or not it's safe, everything's fine, we're in a state of appreciation, or whether we need to go into survival mode. And that survival mode can be triggered by anything that we interpret that we don't like, anything that we feel like we want to, maybe we just dislike it, we're upset about it, maybe we're judging somebody else, something, judging ourselves, creates an incoherent heart rate variability. And when that happens, our heart is listening all the time and sending that message up to the brain. It goes through the basic lower brain function here that accesses, blood pressure and a lot of other like approach avoidance, very basic things that even the reptilian kingdom has. And then it moves up further, and the next place it can go is the midbrain, where we have our emotional memory center. If in fact we have an incoherent heart rate variability coming up and it hits the amygdala, it's going to be, its job is to compare what's happened in the past to what's happening right now. So if we are already incoherent, it's going to look for what has happened in the past that probably was not pleasant, that we want to protect ourselves from, that we want to survive. And it will start to go into survival brain. And not only are we dealing with what's going on right now, but all these neurochemicals and responses and memories are dumped right into our current experience, making it even less likely to be clear. It puts us into a state of incoherence, even in our brain, because that message goes from our amygdala right up and shuts down and interrupts the thalamus, which regulates all of our higher thinking, all of our cortex, even some of our coordination. Have you ever noticed when you're stressed and you're in a hurry, I gotta hurry, and you try to put your key in the ignition or in your door, and you just don't have the same coordination, right? And when you may forget to take the tickets that you were going to take with you, things like that. We start to forget. We don't think clearly. We may say things that we really regret later. We may get into a big emotional reaction, and we don't have the wisdom to pull ourselves out of it. So here's what we can do. We can go to a state of coherence, and we'll do that in a minute. I'll walk you through how to do that. But when we can go to this, consciously go to the state of coherence, notice where we are. The message goes up, goes right up here to the amygdala, the emotional memory center. It may even remind us of some other things that were positive that we've experienced, and add to our energy level and add to our coherence level. And then that message tells the thalamus, everything's clear, go for it. And we have our higher thinking, and that's our executive function. It's our problem solving, it's visioning and goal setting. So we actually have goal steps too, that we can set goals, higher differentiation between thoughts and feelings, and higher just perception and awareness in general. And as I say, we do problem solving and executive thinking. So let's look then at how we can move from an incoherent state, because there are those things that get in the way. Things happen, right? And how can we switch over to a coherent state? And what I want to share too, especially, is that we're not doing a spiritual bypass here. We're not saying if you're feeling something uncomfortable, that we want to just cover it up and go to coherence and go to happy head, because that we can't sustain that. But what we want to do, and we're not being real and authentic, what the tools are for is to pause and get coherent so that we can be present to whatever is going on. And that's why they teach it to, in the military, to first responders. They can't just stop and meditate in that moment, but what they can do is stop and get coherent so that they can deal with whatever is going on. And it actually increases situational awareness so they're safer, as well as giving clear thinking that we just talked about. And out of the box creative thinking too, which we'll talk more about in a minute. So let's start with a quick coherence technique that Tom shared a minute ago. We start with the heart-focused breathing. So we'll walk through it right now. Heart-focused breathing. Putting our attention there in the center of the chest. And then as breathing as if we could breathe in and out through our hearts, a little slower and deeper than usual. If you want, you could put your hand on your heart. But with practice, you won't need to, and no one will even have to know you're doing it while you're doing it. And next, let's activate a positive or renewing feeling. So that could be appreciation or gratitude or care for someone, something, a person, a place, a situation, something of beauty, something that's renewing. And while you're activating that feeling and actively appreciating, feeling gratitude, caring, continue heart-focused breathing. How does that feel? So what we just did is actually informing our electromagnetic field. There's an electromagnetic field of the heart because every heart cell has a little battery in it. Every time the cell fires electrically to create a heartbeat, it informs an electromagnetic field that we can measure. So far, the technology has gotten to between 8 feet away from the body, that the electromagnetic field of the heart can be measured to such, accuracy that with spectral analysis, they can determine whether or not they can distinguish between what our feeling state is, such that we could tell the difference between anger and frustration. We are little radio stations broadcasting into the world what we're feeling. So if we get frustrated about the world situation, what we're doing is adding more frustration to the field. Because our electromagnetic field is interacting with others. And it's even interacting at a global level, where HeartMath has been working with this Global Coherence Initiative, where they have stations around the world measuring changes in the ionosphere, because they have discovered that the heart and the global field, the ionosphere, reflects human emotion. Like in 9/11, just before the towers, there was a huge change in the Schumann resonance. So you can find out more about that at heartmath.org. And if you go to GCI, short for Global Coherence Initiative, I think you'll have a lot of fun participating and meditating with others. And you can see little dots of where everyone is that's meditating at the same time and doing the same heart meditation. There's an app for it as well, where you can do it on your computer. So we are informing the field all the time with what we're experiencing. And another piece of this is that as we radiate out through our hearts, we can access something that HeartMath calls, we don't tell this to when we're doing medical presentations, etc., or to big organizations, but the field of the heart actually can connect to what we call our spiritual heart, more of a transcendent connection that's facilitated when first we are in coherence between our heart and our brain. It's a state we call heart intelligence, where the intuition and the let's say clarity, that inner wisdom, that when you feel an inner wisdom, an inner knowing, can be connected with our higher executive function there in our cortex. And that state is called heart intelligence. And we capitalize the H and the I because of the ability to sync up and deepen into higher states of coherence and heart presence. So let's take a moment then and actually experience this. Let's deepen into it right now. And we'll ask some questions later. So we're going to start with heart focus, breathing. So again, and I'll guide you through the rest of the steps. Heart focus, there in the center of the chest. If you find yourself looking down at your heart, just take imaginary elevator down, down, down through your core. So you're just present right there in your heart. Breathing in and out, and slower and deeper than usual. And let's add to that a renewing feeling. We're going to quick coherence by adding the renewing feeling. So it's appreciation, gratitude, care for a person, a place, thing, a situation, a pet. And activating that appreciation, gratitude, care, or compassion. And let's sustain that feeling of appreciation, gratitude, care, or compassion. Let's make a commitment to sustain that, even if the subject of our appreciation or care or gratitude changes. And let's radiate that like the sun radiates the warmth. Let's radiate that care, compassion, appreciation, gratitude to ourselves first. In whatever way calls to you. Be infusing the cells of your body, could be informing your electromagnetic field, which you're already doing right now. It could be to your whole being. It could be appreciating your heart on this heart day. Look what it's done for us. Let's do this for another 3 minutes. And check in for heart guidance as to, is there somewhere else you would like to radiate those renewing feelings? Somewhere in the world, somewhere in your community. Loved ones, and direct your focus of radiation there. And let's check in with the wisdom of our hearts by picking something that you would like more clarity about. Something you'd like some little heart wisdom about. And notice how you feel about it. And then let's go back to our heart-focused breathing. And breathing in and out a renewing feeling. And about the topic you chose, let's just ask our hearts, what would be a more efficient or effective attitude, action, or solution that would be less stressful, would bring more balance, ease, well-being, and self-care? And just listen. And if nothing comes right away, just know that the the inquiry has been out there. And just stay heart-centered and listen. Maybe something will show up as a reminder today or tomorrow. And if something came up, just make note of that. It can come in a lot of different ways. May not be clear like a cell phone or a text. So just to review, our heart, it's much more than just a pump. It has a brain, it's electrical, it's hormonal. It affects us emotionally, mentally, intuitively, perceptually. And our emotional state affects our heart rate variability. and our level of coherence and brain function. And it is in a state of coherence. Our heart and our brain sync up with our intuition, our higher cortical thinking working together, giving us heart intelligence. And we learn these two techniques, the heart-focused breathing and the quick coherence. Oh my gosh. The treasure is buried there in our hearts all along. We're going to be sending you some resources. So you'll have the gift of a 30-minute consultation, and we'll be sending these out to everybody with these links. We're posting it somewhere for you. And you can find it there on the Heart Mastery homepage. We're also giving you the gift of the Heart Mastery Shift to the Heart course, the first one of the 9 courses, when you use this link. And what that will do is that will put you right into registering. And then when you log in, your course will be there when you select Shift to the Heart Beginner. If you want to find out more about Heart Ambassadors and international projects that we're doing, that we have, you can go to heartambassadors.com. And this is how you can reach me. So thank you and your amazing heart, and have a happy Heart Day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melinda. I am just full of gratitude, and I know everybody on this call will be incredibly full of gratitude for what you have shared with us today. And what a wonderful, wonderful way to start Valentine's Day and Chinese New Year. So it just feels like the perfect way to start something new for our lives for this year. And I'm so grateful for it. I know everybody on this course, this call today is grateful. And thank you, Melinda, for being here with us today and sharing this. So I have just posted in the chat everything that you just showed us on our screen, the gift that you've given us. And we thank you for that too. We're extremely grateful for that too. And this will also be going out in an email to everyone on our database by Wednesday this week. So if anybody doesn't get the details through this chat, then they can actually access it by being part of Not Church. If they didn't make it today, they will be on our email database and they will receive it by email today. So I have pages and pages and pages of notes that I'm going to sit in the sun today and just absorb and practice that meditation again, which is just wonderful. And I'm so grateful that you shared that with us, because imagine if we could all just stop and pause for 20 seconds before we reacted in life, before anything that happens in our life. Anytime we're frustrated, we're irritated, we're annoyed, imagine if we could all just stop and pause and access our heart. And that's my goal, that's my intention, to really practice that and focus on that. So thank you for that incredible wisdom. And what I'm going to just share with you very quickly is also, we have coming up on the 22nd of February, our course, The Power of You, presented by Monica Chiappa, who was our speaker last week at January Not Church. That starts on the 22nd of February. It's every Monday for 3 months from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock. Now, I would like to mention that if you don't have 2 hours, not every Monday is going to take 2 hours. It's just we've asked you to block that time out in case one of those Mondays does take 2 hours. But just as we found with our Not Church event, and as Anna so beautifully said this morning, that Not Church is the main event, but we also have other weekly events, and that's where the real work gets done, the work on the heart and the work on ourselves. So every Monday we're going to be getting together with Monica via Zoom, but also we are going to get together during the week via WhatsApp chats, etc. And that's where the real work will be done. So some of the things that Monica is going to be telling us about and teaching us, are you living in reality or virtual reality, ego versus personality, your true essence and your authentic self. We're going to be doing some co-creating with our intentions. We are going to be looking at our inner child and doing some inner child work, loving ourselves, learning how to love ourselves unconditionally. And we're going to be looking at the power of forgiveness. The last thing I'll say about this course, to register, please go to the tranquilobaja.com website. Under courses, you will see a green tab that says click here to register, and that generates an email directly to me. It's already written out for you, and you just have to click submit, and I'll add you to the list and give you the Zoom link for us starting on Monday the 25th of February. This is a program that is, we call it appreciation based, which means that all proceeds are given by funds of appreciation, as you give what you've purposed in your heart, as we say. And it's going, Monica has actually beautifully decided to gift all of these funds that she's been given to a wonderful organization here in Baja called Mujeres para Mujeres, Women for Women. And so we're delighted to be partnering with them too in this way. So any other questions, you can email us either through the tranquilobaja.com website or maybe after this we officially end. I'm going to hand over to Nadine now, our host. So if you have any questions, I'll be here. You can to answer some questions too. But once again, thank you, Melinda, for the beautiful day, and to all of the others who participated, the wonderful warm welcome, Anna, beautiful history of Not Church and Tranquilo, and Tom for introducing Melinda, and of course, Lisa for her beautiful reading. Thank you, Nadine.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. That was kind of fantastic, I'd say, and very heart-centered and the perfect, but a different approach to Valentine's Day, I'd say, all starting with our own hearts and getting those in resonance. Now, if you'd like, you can all unmute if you'd like. We can ask questions. If you'd like to ask a question, you may. If you want to chat, you may. It's that time.
Thank you. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, Melinda.
That was
My pleasure.
fantastic.
My pleasure. And you can deepen into all of that in that course. So, and you actually practice the tools while you're learning them. It's really fun.
Yeah, great.
I've been on the website myself and practiced some of this, and it is really accessible and easy to follow, and it's well laid out. And I recommend you all check it out.
Yeah.
Mary Beth, do you have a question? She's frozen. Okay.
Oh.
I was wondering if they've done any studies with nutrition and how that affects our coherence or incoherence.
No,
Lisa?
that's an interesting question. I don't know of any specifically, but I know that it's hard to get coherent when our body isn't up, isn't, if we're ill, it's more a little more difficult. So it would be I know people that have had that realized that when they were eating certain things, when they were using the HeartMath technology that Tom was talking about, measuring your heart rate variability, that it affected it. And they went, oh, if I just quit eating whatever that was, I can stay coherent more often. And some people have made dietary changes because of that, because nothing's more important than our coherence, right?
Yes.
Everything starts from there. Right. Good question. Yes.
Thank you. Interesting.
Thanks, Beatrice. Arthur, you have a question?
Yes. Well, as a filmmaker, I'm very interested in coherence for the whole society. You know, when I made the film War Without Winners with Paul Newman and worked on The Day After, I realized that dark side of showing the reality of nuclear war is also creating fear and incoherence, and moved on to creating a film I have now called The World Is My Country, that is inspiring, uplifting view to help us get in more coherence. And it's going to be on public TV coming up in April. And I'll put a link in there. People go to theworldismycountry.com / public TV. They can see more about it. But my big question for you is, are there people at HeartMath? I know Tom Shadyac did a wonderful film related to this some years back, but are there people interested in joining me, or I can work with, on creating an ongoing series movie? I have lots of scripts and concepts for it, but that would take us into the kind of positive future where we've developed this kind of coherence, where the peacekeeping police of the future, you know, detect the auric field, find out, is a person angry or hurt? How do we heal, transform, and change the situation, rather than how do we kill bad guys, you know? And where we take these practices and bring them into a future where we create a world that works for everyone. Are there people interested in working on that at HeartMath, and that I can collaborate with as we do this?
There have been a lot of filmmakers that have come to HeartMath with similar questions on how they can infuse what they're presenting with these. Reach out to me and I'll find out who to connect you with. Okay.
Okay, great, excellent.
Yes.
I'll invite everybody else to go to that page too. I put in the chat there, the worldismycountry.com / public TV. But I will email you individually, Melinda, and we'll follow up as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing about what you mentioned about eating and how eating affects your heart and your coherence. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about nutriments in terms of everything that we consume, whether it's consuming food, consuming what we listen to, consuming what we read, consuming what we watch on TV. What we ingest through all of our senses affects, I would be quite sure, would affect our coherence and our hearts. So that's one of the things that we look at in study group constantly, is what are we ingesting, and being conscious of that. And I think we can all kind of raise our awareness and affect our heart brain coherence by paying attention to what we consume.
Yes, good point, Nadine, because we actually have, HeartMath has a stopping emotional eating program, using these tools to pause when we're feeling the compulsion to eat, and pausing and really listening and accessing our heart intelligence. What is it we're really longing for? And it may not be a donut. You know, what is it that we're really longing for, and meeting that need in a compassionate way, instead of with the food, getting down to the and healing that compulsion. Yeah.
I also found a great compatibility between all of the HeartMath ideas and the coherence, and the ideas that we have been studying with Locke Kelly and opening up to awareness, and what we're now studying with Adyashanti. So I'll put in a quick plug here for study group. If anybody would care to join us, we're just starting our new book. We're just on our second week, and it's a really good one. So you're all welcome to join us, and let me know if you'd like to do so. And the other thing was that everything starts with us. What we project out there, what that energy that we're putting out there. Hannah's been trying to tell me about this for a very long time. And I have resisted, but I'm kind of coming around to it finally.
It's Maria. Hi. Along with what we're ingesting, if you'd love to ingest some poetry, we have an upcoming poetry session. My series is called Words from the Heart. So it ties into today. And we have a wonderful poet from the UK who will be speaking to us on the 27th. It's the middle of the day, 11:30, in order for it to be UK time, 7:30 at night. If you're interested, I will put my email in the chat. And if you don't know about it yet, please email me. I'll be happy to share it.
I'm telling you, these words from the heart with Maria, every single one of them have been absolutely fantastic. And I recommend everyone check in
And I will personally recommend the poet. I'm just about to go and listen to him, actually.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
apologies for leaving. Thank you very much for the lovely, lovely meditation. It's very similar to something we do at work, which is simply called slow breathing, which I teach to children in different ways. I don't do all the physiology of the heart because that would be a little bit much for young children, but it's very similar in its effect. It was very nice to see it used in this way. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry.
Lynn, hi, Lynn. This
Hi.
is Lynn Jones, who is our speaker next month.
Yeah,
and
I've written you an email about that. I'm a bit intimidated now, actually.
Oh.
I don't think I can follow
a little
this.
bit about your work. Would you mind just give us just a moment? And you have a book, and also Maria has a new poetry book out that is absolutely wonderful.
And I don't know how
But
to get
would you
hold of
say
Maria's.
words about your work?
Well, that's so sweet of you. So I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist, and I've spent most of my life doing relief work. But in the last 5 years, I've really focused on the migrant crisis because the big aid agencies and NGOs, big NGOs, haven't really paid attention to the mass movement of people, of which I'm sure, living where you are very aware. I was actually in Tijuana. I joined before Donald Trump was paying attention. There was an annual Via Crucis, and I joined it in 2017, walking across the Guatemala border through the water, up the highway, and then joined it again when it reached Tijuana. And I've worked in the shelters in Tijuana, which are incredible. There's an incredible bunch of people in Tijuana. So that's just one of the stories in a book that came out in the US last week called The Migrant Diaries. You can find it on Fordham University Press website. And very kindly, I'm really touched. People I've never met before, thank you, have just invited me to come and talk about the book to you. I'm not sure of the date. Thank you. She's giving you the date. So I'm doing it twice. No, I'm doing the book. I'm doing the book. I'm getting muddled now. I'm doing the book for you at Not Church. What date am I doing it? Help. March
14th.
March 14th. I will be there. But it's going to be a sort of discussion of the work and a reading. It won't be breathing. Although I do actually do breathing, you'll see in the book with the children.
Well, we look forward to it. We look forward to seeing you next month at the church.
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
And see
and
you.
I just put Maria, the name of Maria's new poetry book in the link. And maybe, Lynn, you could put your new book in there too. I've already ordered it, so I look forward to getting it soon.
So there is a question that maybe Melinda wants to answer in the chat, and it says, do you have a heart math program for children? So,
yes, I was just typing a response. I know, and I was.
Okay, I'm glad you saw it.
I wanted to hear what Lynn was saying too.
Okay, good.
Yes, if you go to heartmath.org, which is the HeartMath Institute, they have a lot of research about a lot of things. And there's a whole education section. If you click on that, there are programs for kids all the way from preschool up to college and at different levels of understanding. So you really can talk about these things like what we were just doing here. We call it, there's a shift and shine. Okay, that's what we do for the little ones. Things, and they understand all the HeartMath concepts, the basic ones in language they understand. So if you just go under the education department, or if you go into books, you'll see different books and games for kids at different ages. And that's at the Research Institute, heartmath.org.
Wonderful. Well, it's so nice to see so many people hang around afterwards to be in this discussion. How great. It's nice to see all of you here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So have you just posted your words there? Oh, Maria, that's you. Sorry. Maria's posted February Words from the Heart.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
Not Melinda. Okay. So that's
And well, I'll get a copy of this chat and we can include all these things in our.
in our email.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nikki.
Anybody else? Are we off to go celebrate and eat chocolate?
Cheryl has a question.
A wonderful program today. Thank you so much.
Cheryl has a question.
Thank you.
No, I had the Tuesday meditation group that's in the north end of Rosarito. We're starting on Tuesday a new book called Love is the Way, Love in Action by Bishop Michael Curry. And if you're interested in that, give me a call, or you can find it on the website for Tranquilo, and join us. We're always open for any new members. And this is the book we're reading. We'll be reading the introduction, but you don't need to have read that if you'd like to join in. Love in Action.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Putting that in.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, with that, I will bid you all adieu. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks so
Melinda,
much.
Lisa,
Thank you.
Tom, Molly, thank you. Adieu and rest in peace to our dear beloved Charlie Wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Bye.
We'll see you next month.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful day.